Hi, my name is Gibran, and welcome to Unlisted with Sam Malik. We have been talking about a previous topic which was quite big, but it's primarily about to teach you about or give you dispense a little information about the chakras itself. But the topic, broadly as we speak, is are we creating our own universe? And this episode will be the third episode in continuation. And previously we have spoken about three chakras before, and today it's going to be about the heart chakra, or also known as or referred to as the air element. So let's get to Sam about this. Sam, how are you? I am doing very well. Sam, I think we have a little bit of a trouble with your microphone. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So sorry for the trouble. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you, Gibran? Good to be back.
Yeah, good to hear from you, man. It's always a pleasure to connect with you. I know you are a busy man and your time is valuable, but I think sharing these ideas with people is very important. Hence why we trouble you.
Well, if even one person learns from this, it will be amazing if we can touch a single life.
Excellent. So, Sam, I think you should take over from this point. This is the third episode on the chakras, and we've reached the center chakra, as you mentioned earlier, the heart chakra.
Okay. So, I may not be very linear.
We've reached the center.
The explanation, but I will try my best. The heart chakra, which is right here, so represents the air. I may not be very linear. Now, each chakra corresponds to a certain body, entity, object out there in the universe. So, for example, the sun chakra, the fire chakra, corresponds with the sun, and the earth chakra corresponds with the earth itself, the planet we live on. The water chakra and the air chakra are multidimensional places. Yes, water is everywhere, but there is a place in the universe with which the water chakra corresponds. So it's a collective of all the water. We can't imagine it because we live in the third dimension, right? Where everything has its own space and time. But the water element and the air element do correspond with the place, but we don't understand what kind of a place that is. So the heart chakra is in the center of all our chakras, and its correspondence is with the center of the universe. Is there such a place? Perhaps not. Heart chakra is in the center of all our chakras, but the correspondence is with the center of the universe. This is an irrational statement so far because we cannot discuss multiple dimensions scientifically in a sensible way so far. They are so abstract. As we go up the chakras become more and more subtle. They, from solids to liquids, now we are entering the world of gas or gases, air. But they become more and more powerful. So even though we are trapped in our 3D physical world, the air element is much more powerful than the material element. So if we want to influence the universe, or how we actually do influence the universe, is sort of in reverse. It's as you go up the chakras that your ability to influence the material world or the rest of the universe increases. So we are looking for a trick in the material world, to move a mountain, we want a bulldozer, but the air element can help you in ways which are unimaginable, or at least, they're counterintuitive. So the air element, mm, let's talk about the body first, huh? So we breathe
Sure.
it in through our lungs,
Hmm.
and our lungs are a sort of pump
Hmm.
which make the heart beat, right? Eventually, the lungs and the heart are one system which makes circulation possible in the body, which make the
The
heart
air
beat,
element
right?
itself.
Turns into thoughts in the body. So our brain is activated because of air.
Hmm.
So if you stop breathing, the brain immediately dies, right? So
Right.
let's say that the brain runs on some kind of electricity which the lungs are producing, and the heart runs on some kind of electromagnetic field. And that's, that they both represent together. They represent the earth chakra. Sorry, the heart chakra.
Hmm.
So the emotions which can stop this chakra from functioning well are, the emotion which makes this chakra operate in a healthy way is love, but
Wow.
not our idea of, but not our idea of Hollywood romantic love, right? It's another kind of love. We will discuss that a little bit because I think it's important to this discussion. Um, and the negative emotions which can stop this chakra from functioning properly are hatred, of course, or a bias, but much more than that, pain. If you are hurt, if you internalize pain, if you start storing pain, this chakra is no longer efficient.
Okay.
Mm, So yes, the universe, or people around you or whatever will keep disturbing you and hurting you.
Hmm.
Um, but are you allowed to store that pain in the
Hmm.
heart chakra? So these thoughts, which are generated by the air element,
Hmm.
get stored in every cell of your body also. Just like the water element, which is your emotional memory, gets stored in every cell of your body. So we often come across people who are trying to lose weight,
Hmm.
but the cells are chock full of old, toxic water as well as air. So there's a whole science in yoga to deal with the air chakra, um, through breathing exercises, to get rid of the old air or thoughts and to replace it with fresh new ones, which leads to another spiritual aspect of this chakra. There are scriptures in which, when the divine, now this is all symbolic, of course, and in a strange way, in a mystical way, it's also literal.
Hmm.
When the divine created Adam and made him of clay, the divine took his own breath and breathed it into Adam. So it's the air element being added into Adam.
Wow.
Um, yes. And in the yogic tradition, this chakra is related to prana, the life force. So perhaps the divine breath is the life force, which is a subtle form of a fuel, even more subtle than electricity in electromagnetic fields, which runs our body and keeps us alive. Um, so this science in yoga of breathing in a healthy way is called pranayama.
Right.
Again, using the word prana right there. And So the air element can cause a hurricane, can cause a gentle breeze, can stifle us with its stillness.
Wow.
So whatever is happening outside is happening inside us, right? And these thoughts are, millions of thoughts a second, so much information, so much happening in this electromagnetic field, that is crazy. It's very difficult to keep track of it. So in all meditation, we learn how to slow down. First, we learn to slow down our breath, then our thoughts, and eventually, at least in terms of a perhaps unachievable goal, to stop our thoughts, or at least really, really slow them down so we gain some consciousness.
Right.
So this is my introduction to the air chakra. Gibran, this thing about storing hatred or pain in the heart chakra, symbolically the divine in multiple spiritual traditions calls the heart the true home of the divine. So if this home is littered or dirtied by pain or hatred or biases of some sort, then it's not a good home for the divine, right? And so here starts another relationship with life and the universe. If the divine lives in your heart, how do you welcome the divine? Do you have a right to store pain and biases and hatred? And if you think you do, where did that come from? Who told you that you do? Are you perhaps here to house the divine temporarily and for no other reason, and yet you're looking for other reasons than this? Since we are not told this from a very early age, we discover this at extremes of pain, depression. When we are really in trouble spiritually, we start questioning, why are we here and what is our objective? And I think one of our primary objectives, according to the heart chakra, is to keep the heart clean and receive the divine with open arms. And like I said, this heart chakra corresponds with the center of the universe. It's because of this particular relationship between man and the divine that we can clearly say, yes, man is at the center of the universe, and this entire thing has been created for us. So waiting for your reaction, Gibran. I've said a lot of
You've taken me to places, frankly.
crazy stuff.
So one of the things that I because you see there's so much that you've kind of dismantled so quickly. I know there's just broader things that you've spoken about, but there are quite a lot of things if you understand. My few questions that I may have at this point is one is logical and the other one's kind of functional. So from a standpoint, we are born to feel emotions, whether it's love or hatred or dissatisfaction or not being content or whatever they are, the whole spectrum or the whole suite of emotions. How come we are able to feel it and we are supposed to feel it, but we can't store it, or we shouldn't store it, especially the negative ones, as you mentioned earlier? Just right now you mentioned it's the place where the Lord resides, the Creator resides, and we're not supposed to, we shouldn't actually. Why is that? And then how do you
Very
differentiate that point where, as long as you feel them, but you're not, you shouldn't store them?
interesting. So while we are here, while we are alive, we are supposed to explore the universe or life, or our self identity in its completeness, right? We
Right.
are supposed to look at the shadows as well as the bright light. So we are required to experience the darker side as well as the lighter side. Uh, are we allowed to choose a side? This is a spiritual question. Um, are we allowed to generate negative emotions? Yes, we have been given the ability to do that. Um, your question, how do we not store it, is a little complicated. It's a little complicated. I think it's the heart chakra which also gives us an insight into the ego. What does the ego think its role is? Is the ego's role to sit here and judge creation, the universe, life? If something happens to you which doesn't please you, does the ego have a right to judge it? Does it? Okay. The ego does have the right to protect you, for sure. That's its primary function, to identify you, to protect you. But does it have a right to judge the universe for a particular action? Um, are we here as judges or are we here as witnesses? This is a very important question. If we are constantly judging, then we are not witnessing. So a
Right.
neutral witness who does not have an emotional bias has a different experience of life. But somebody sitting in judgment has a very different experience of life. The person sitting in judgment has already decided what is good, what is bad, right?
Right.
Without understanding that life is a long experience and our ideas of good and bad will constantly keep changing. Um, and we don't know till the end what any of this means. And since we are created as unique individuals, we may feel that we have a lot in common with the next person, but honestly, where will our individualism express itself if we are in constant comparison with other people, or basing things on other people's experiences rather than our own? So so then this whole question starts. If my foot is hurting a little bit, do I know if it's a good thing or a bad thing? Do I know if illness is coming in, or is healing finally beginning in an area that I was not aware was not well? So does that sort of answer your question, Gibran?
It does,
Um,
but it also leads to a couple of more questions, and they can be very intertwined. And because we've come to a point where we understand a little bit about the air chakra or the heart chakra and how these elements affect, from the experiential point of view of emotions and the judgmental point of view, the verses between it. But now we're at a point where we're talking about the spirituality and health at the same time. And so, on that note, I want you to explain a couple of things, and you can interconnect them to you if you like. Um, I want to take an example of a person, and let's say they're two different distinct individuals, and you interact with those people. Each of them gives you a different sense, a different aura, a different energy. Some people are so likable in the first instance, and some people without being judgy, you don't feel as good. You just want to keep the conversation short, brief, and depart or part ways. That being said, connect this with this idea that there are two kinds of people, or let's say the two different people. One who react more to negative emotions, hatred. Say, for instance, they would like to talk about negativity more than being positive. Their approach is also, uh, you know, a variant of what I said earlier. Now, keeping these two scenarios in mind, and if you so wish, you can add or connect this topic to the potential problems or diseases that can occur because of this chakra not functioning correctly. See where this
Okay,
leads,
you're
because this is
asking,
important.
yeah, you're asking multiple questions in one go, but I'll try to address some of them. There are people who generate, the heart chakra when it is disturbed. You are in pain, and you are projecting pain outwards. Whether it's justified or not is a secondary question. But when you are in pain, you normally will start inflicting pain upon other people to share your experience, consciously or subconsciously. So perhaps your heart's electromagnetic field, is not as pure as it was before, and this electromagnetic field of your heart extends outwards for several feet, and it's subtle, but we when we come in contact with each other, our fields, kind of merge for a moment, or there is an exchange between them. So you immediately sense, at a subconscious level, when somebody's field is disturbed. And the other thing you were talking about, the relationship between pain and disease, or the heart chakra and disease, I'm sorry. Yes, when you start storing pain in the heart chakra, and there is only so much you can store in the heart itself,
True.
the body, to defend itself, will start storing it in the rest of your body first. And if it starts accumulating, then it turns into physical pain.
Oh.
And this is the kind of relationship I was talking about, that the higher chakras will generate a shift in the physical universe. And nowhere is it more obvious than within the human body itself, right? So ugly thoughts or painful thoughts will create physical pain in the body. And wow, that's remarkable, right? And if you're hurt, if there's a little cut or something, then positive thoughts, or
Right.
the air element positive, will start healing that area. Gibran, another thing I think we need to talk about is, since this chakra corresponds with the air that we breathe, imagine people who live in very polluted cities. For example, I am in one of the most polluted cities in the world. We suffer immensely. But when we are sitting there, and of course there is an effect of that, not only in terms of common colds and pneumonia and lung diseases, but also in terms of behavior. People experience ugly thoughts. They become meaner, more anxious, so on and so forth. But when we are sitting there planning a career or a life for ourselves, I would say, oh, I want to go to New York and live there. I would never consider how important the air of a place is, right? There are very few of us who, after being beaten up by the system or modern life, will say, oh, I wish I lived in a forest, or out in nature. Um, and when we do take a vacation in a place where the air is very clean, there is a shift in our psyche immediately. We are thinking differently, feeling differently. But when we are sitting there rationally planning a career or choosing a life, we ignore the five elements, which is a real pity. I think it's a real pity. We need to not wait for disaster to happen physically, emotionally, before we learn to make the correct choice. And anyway, I thought I should let you know that. Um, Another thing we do need to talk about is this idea of love, right? What is love that is driving this entire universe? If it is the primary food for the universe or energy for the universe, what exactly do we mean when we talk about love? Um, should we discuss that a little bit?
Please go ahead.
Okay, so there is the human love in which you fall in love with somebody and you want to marry them or have a relationship with them, and then you demand that they should be faithful to you, or whatever. That's not the kind of love I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you have enough prana, energy, stillness, balance emotionally in your body, and you look around you, right? And you find something to admire as it is.
Wow.
You find something to respect as it is. You find something to appreciate as it is, and accept it as it is, without the desire for manipulating it, without the desire for possessing it, without the desire for making changes to it. That subtle little sentiment is love.
Wow.
Yes. So if you're walking in a park and you see a beautiful flower, it's not yours. It doesn't need to be yours. You can enjoy it, admire it, and when you pay attention to it, giving attention to something is also part of love. And you look at how beautiful it is, and who made this, and where did it come from, and what does it mean, and without letting these questions disturb you, and you observe it and appreciate it. That is love.
Is that, if I'm allowed to say, like how we define our five senses, is this the primary fundamental sense of our connection with the universe? It's a sense of
Wow.
love?
Interesting question. Yes. I think yes, Chakram. But who can experience that? Not that judge, but the witness. Right? Our primary senses are for witnessing the universe. But to be able to do that, we have to approach the universe with love. We have to tell our ego to stay put, to control its misbehavior or judgmentalness. And only then can we begin to experience love. And love has no purpose. Love
Right.
has no conditionality. Love is not a power struggle. Yet, love has the power to transform everything around. So it's a very powerful force, but it only happens when there is no objective. So this is how we are co-creating the universe, right?
Wow.
So when we don't have an objective, when we don't have a goal, but we are able to use the power of love, we can transform the universe. But the minute we have an agenda, it is no longer powered by love. You see the subtle difference there.
Well, the subtle difference may be subtle at this point, but what I'm thinking is if this individual sense converges into a collective phenomena, what happens then? how long does
Uh,
the evil, where does the evil stand then?
yes.
Uh, Evil is a connotation for hatred. I mean, that's what my sense is within this scope of the question or the topic. So, is it a drop in the ocean with an individual effort, and is it the ocean as a group or a collective formation?
I think one person also is very powerful. Um, they can influence multiple people or multiple outcomes. So I don't want to downplay the role of the individual, but the collective, of course, is fantastic, right? Uh, we have so in history we have experienced many gurus or masters or saints who are individuals who have the power to transform you. Uh, and then if people come together as a group of people, um, they are obviously able to make tremendous social changes and influence the universe in a beautiful way. um, but when we talk about human rights, modern governments, um, how we are organized today, this is an element which needs to be kept clean. Air belongs to everyone, and it's a huge issue, and water belongs to everyone. And for somebody to have the right to create pollution, uh, hypothetically from a fashion factories, so you can wear a bright pink t-shirt, yet everybody else is not able to breathe in clean air because you're making that t-shirt. We need to somehow work our way back and claim these elements as basic human rights. And we all need to be able to democratically participate in the decision-making process for, are we going to be burning this chemical to make this stupid little toy while we all choke. So this is, of course, about collective love, right?
And also capitalism.
It could also happen in communism. The state
That's
could
true.
decide to put up a factory, which is making ridiculous products because the state has decided it.
Okay,
So,
okay, wait,
yeah.
wait. I need to give a disclaimer to the audience here, and people who are going to be watching it. It was meant only as a joke. No hard feelings against capitalism. I do have my own reservations on it, and I'm sure Sam has ideas about it too. But it was just merely a joke.
Well, of course, I am into spiritualism, right? So when these things are, when my five elements are not being compromised by any given system, I don't care what you want to call it, or any given religion or group of people or culture, I'll be a happy man. But I think we're all guilty of compromising one or the other. And, so there is no ideal system. Living in harmony with our body and with nature is not exactly popular in modern culture. Let's put it that way.
But your laughter tells me you're a happy man, so your chakras are kind of working pretty well.
Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not.
Well, on that note, and in a crunch for time, for those who want to get in touch with Sam for private healing sessions, because Hair Chakra may just be the center, but it has a huge impact on health and your spiritual well-being. We haven't touched really on this topic, but I think I will leave the healing part to Sam. And I'll display the website, which is healedbylife.com. You can visit that website to get in touch with Sam for his private healing sessions. You can also watch his videos over these topics as well on the YouTube channel. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much for that insightful information, and it's always been a pleasure. I know we always leave, these are so big topics, we always leave something or the other behind. but that's what the Q&A section is for. So you can leave your comments in here for any questions regarding the topics that Sam has mentioned and we've talked about. We'll be more than happy to answer. Sam?
Pleasure being here. Thank you, Gibran. Thank you for this opportunity, and talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for connecting with us. Watch our videos. We try to upload at least 2 videos a week, sometimes more if we can. Depends on how difficult it is to get hold of Sam. But on that note, take care of yourself, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.